Hello felting friends, welcome back to this week's video. Today we're going to do a scene where someone is walking at sunset on a snowy day. I'm not sure why I've missed out the very first bit, but the bit around the edge is just very dark grey and a dark blue mixed together and just put round like it's done there to frame the picture. And here I'm mixing grey and the dark blue, a lighter grey and the dark blue. And then what I want to do is just feather it out and put it all the way around the edge like this. I'm blending the lighter grey into the darker one obviously, but the blue that's in it is the same blue that was in the dark grey and dark blue, if you get what I'm saying there. So that just wants to go all the way around the edge, and I've come down into the middle a little bit there just to break it up. You'll see what's happening with that in a minute. Now what I've got here, the base colour is actually cream, it's not white, it's a creamy colour, sort of sheep colour, and I'm adding just a touch of yellow and a touch of orange. But you can see how thin I spread it out, how little there is, and then just mix all that together. It wants to be as together as you can get it, mix it really well, and that shows you just the difference between the original and that bit. Just lay it down, feather it out onto the grey area, like I'm doing with the tip of your needle carefully, and just fill in where I am with this darker yellowy orange. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit patchy. Now this is the same base cream colour, and I'm now mixing just a touch of like an orangey brown wool. As you can see, I keep checking the colours, so I don't want them too different from each other. But mix it the best you can, like I say, and if you have any little blobby bits, it doesn't really matter too much. If you hear any little clicky clacky toes, it's my dog in the background, sorry. I'll try and edit it out, but she's quite insistent this evening. It's going to look weird at the moment, but this is another one of those trust the process pictures. The biggest thing I need to do here is just to make sure that the felt from underneath doesn't show through. And as normal, this is 100% wool felt I'm felting onto, and this particular picture is going to be 10 inches by 6 inches when it's finished. But as always, I've cut it slightly larger, so that I've got some room to put it in the frame and decide how I want it. Only half an inch or so around each side. And this is just a bit more of that dark blue and dark grey that I've got. And here I'm really just blending the colours together a bit. I don't want any harsh lines, so I'm trying to make sure that everything is blended nicely, sort of overlapping and that. I'm just making sure that I've left the tree trunks themselves and where the person is, so that I can come back and I know where they're placed. And I've also left the circle, obviously, for the sun. But you don't need to worry about the tops of the trees or anything, because we'll put those in afterwards. And the link to this drawing, as normal, should be in the description box below. It's free, just go click on it, it should take you straight to it to download it. And here I'm just feathering up that colour because I want it to blend. It's the sunset spreading out across the sky, so I want it to be soft and blending into everything. So just very, very gently I use the tip of the needle. And now I'm just adding some grey down the bottom. This is, you've probably heard me say before, but this is like the atmosphere. This is sort of shady, grey, lower, dull areas. You'll see what I mean when the picture goes on. But it's just darkening down those bits because when I put the snow on in a minute, it will stand out better against the darker bits. And I'm doing the same thing here. This is just a grey mixed with that blue, light grey mixed with the blue, and I'm just putting it around the edge so it all softens up, and then you're not going to be left with any hard edges anywhere. But you can see when I put it down, I'm not ever so particular about having no blobby bits. I don't know how else to describe them really. That's the thing with nature, with wool, you know, I'm not striving for total perfection and absolute smoothness, because all this is going to help just give more atmosphere and drama to the background. So in here I'm putting just the cream colour. You know, if you remember, we've had the cream colour when you've used it as a base for other things. Well, now I've literally just using that cream colour without anything else mixed with it in for this area here. But you'll see we're going to blend this away as well. I just want a slightly brighter area here, and then I'm taking very fine sections of that creamy colour that we mixed with the yellow, and I'm just laying it, feathering it over the sun so that it blends the edge, softens all the edge. It doesn't have to go right over the sun completely, but I want to get rid of the edge between the sun and the yellow outer. And this now is going to be some trees. As I said in my other pictures, just go for cone shapes, because this is all going to get blended into the background as well. And what I've done here is I've got if you look at the outside edge, we've got the dark grey and the dark blue, and I've taken some of that and I've mixed in a bit of dark green. Not much, I just want to give a hint of green to it. You probably won't really notice it, well, you don't, when the picture's finished, but just in case for some reason you might, I wanted to have some green in it. And then just 3 cone shapes, that's all you need to do, because then we're going to spread out that light cream colour again and put it over the top so it disappears into the brightness of the evening sun. But you can see how thinly I lay it out. And I like to use the multi-tool for this because, as I said before, because the multi-tool has more than one needle in it, it doesn't pull the wool into single lines, where sometimes if you needle felt with just a single needle on wool, you'll end up with just a line. And I want all the fibres to stay apart. This is what I'm trying to say. If you do it with lots of needles, they pin it all down at the same time and it doesn't have room to move. Now here I'm just using some more of that colour, and I'm putting in just a tree. This is all going to get blended into the background as well. This is going to be hidden amongst the atmosphere of the night as well, the evening sun rather. So just pop it in. You can use a straightforward grey, it doesn't really matter, it just wants to be dark enough that you can see it, and then we're going to go over it and hide it. So just have a rough tree shape. And this is just some grey again going on here. and another cone shape. We're going to have 2 or 3 more cone shapes for trees. Just make sure you don't cover up the trunk of the main trees that you've left clear, because you still want those. So I've put a dark green, this is dark green mixed with some blue, and then I've put a little bit of light green highlight around the edges, just where the sun would catch the either side, so you'd be able to see through the leaves. But just a touch of it. This is my usual tree effect. I'm just trying to decide if I like it there, if I wanted it for sure. So just a dark brown. I haven't mixed anything with it because I'm going to do things with it. And just pull it upwards and felt it in, and just create yourself a tree shape. I always use it, plenty of wool, so I can split it like that, but you don't have to. You can do the trunk and then add the branches on afterwards. This is just my way of doing it. And don't forget that trees don't have straight branches. They tend to have bends and dips and things in them. What I'm aiming for with my 2 big trees will be to have big branches coming off the trunk, and then the little tiny branches will be on the ends of the bigger branches. Oh dear me, I'm having words tonight. But you'll see what I mean as I go along. But so it's going to look a little bare at the moment, but we're going to add some more small branches later. And down the bottom here is just some light brown, same as I do with all my trees, a little bit of light brown spread out just on the edge there, and then in a moment we'll go over with a little bit of even lighter brown, the gingery brown that we used on the sky, and we mixed in. I'm using a little bit of that, literally just up the very edge where the sun would catch it. Almost as if you're drawing an outline. What I'm doing over that side is I still want to darken it down a little bit more, so I'm just laying on very thinly, as I do with all my layers, just adding some lights and darks. It's the grey and the dark grey. I'm just adding more on. So on this bit again, I'm just going up some of the big branches just on the side where the sunlight would catch it. If you're not sure about trees, just find yourself a picture of a winter tree and have a go at copying that, you know, for the branches and things. You can put as many branches on as you want. Just depends how much patience you've got, really. I do put on quite a bit more at the very end. Now around the base of this tree I've started to mix the blue and the cream together to get some shaded areas. I want some light snow and some dark snow. This is just a dark bit that's going to be the start of the shadow of the tree. So this again is the cream and the yellow, and this is now going to be the snow. It's going to keep that very yellowy tinge because it's an evening thing. I'm just trying to find out where the edge of the picture is so I don't go over it. I don't know whether you can see, but that's the technique I like to use a lot, is start to felt and then start to pull the wool away, and then I'm left with just a few strands. I find that very useful for going up fine things like that. You'll see me do that a lot. We have another couple of cones coming up. It's the same dark colour, the dark grey, dark blue, with a hint of green in it. Now I've put a bit of extra grey there because I want to put a bit of lightness on the green tree, and it will stand out more against the grey rather than the lightness against the yellowy sky. You'll see in a minute what I mean. See how I start to needle felt and I literally pull the wool away. And you can see how that light green stands out better against that grey now. Now this is the second tree we're going to put in, and it's put in exactly the same way as the first tree. I didn't bother to show you that, no one wants to sit through that twice. And this is that brown, again I said that's going to give that light effect going up the side. You could, if you wanted to, make this even more of a snow picture and have a little bit of snow nestling in the V's of the branches if you wanted to. I didn't bother, I thought it looked alright as it was, but you could do that if you wanted to. I'm just adding some more greeny colour. Now I put some brown in here because it's a mixture of browns and the grey and whatever, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted it to be like a muddy pile under the tree, or I wanted it to be rocks, things, or bushes. So I put in the base because I thought, you know, even if it turns into a bush, they have brown branches. Oh yes, please do consider like, sharing and subscribing if you're enjoying it, thank you. You don't want to miss out. There's all sorts of pictures coming up next year. Same thing here, just a little bit of the light colour running down the tree. And there I'm just using my needle to scuff the two colours together a little bit. I still haven't decided, so I'm adding some lighter brown here at the moment. Because the thing is, if it does turn into that I decide to have it as rocks, then it would need some snow on it. So I'm leaving it till much later on to make final decisions on it. Now this is the man, and I'm using very dark blue and black mixed together on this one because I want a really good silhouette for him. So to start with, because I've gone over where his legs would go, I'm literally putting on his coat at the moment, his coat and his head. This one will be a little bit up to what you think looks right, really, because there's every chance that you will have needle felted over the parts of his head. So there's nothing complex about this. It's literally a silhouette, so you just need to make sure you've got the head roughly the right size. And on this bit I'm just putting a hood on his anorak, or whatever coat he's wearing. So you don't have to worry about detail, it's just the shape, the outline you're looking for. Obviously now I'm putting his legs in. And if you're not sure because you've needle felted over the legs, just have a look at a picture and see roughly what shape someone has when they're walking. You don't have to be perfect on this. Just want it roughly the right proportions and roughly the right direction, and you'll be fine. And then obviously at the bottom of the legs you're going to put some shoes. Although if he's got any sense he'd be wearing wellies in all that snow. I thought I'd give him a walking cane, but you don't have to. I mean, all these little extra bits you can leave off if you don't want to. You could turn that into a dog on a lead if you wanted to, rather than a walking cane, or leave it off altogether. Now this is dark blue, just dark blue, and I'm going just around the very edge, because if you think about it, where the light's hitting his coat, you would just see maybe a little bit of the colour that his coat is. The rest of it would be dark because it's in shadow. So I wanted just to go around the very edge so that if you got up close to the picture, you'd see that his coat was whatever colour you wanted. In this case it's blue. And here again I'm doing the, am I mud, am I a boulder, or am I a bush? Sometimes I do this and I let the picture tell me later on what it wants. And I wanted it quite dark there. I want the some really deep dark shadows. So that's dark blue mixed with black. And this now is just the base cream colour, because if you remember the rest of it's mixed with some extra yellow, and I wanted the snow to pop a little bit more on the edges, so that's why I've just used the basic cream colour. now I'm working on the shadow. So this is the, it's a dark grey, but it doesn't have a lot of the blue in it. It's more dark grey with black, really. Having said that, there is a hint of blue in it because I want it to look like snow still. So if you mix, I'll make this, if you mixed a dark grey with a little bit of black and some blue, really dark blue, you'd be fine. But if you don't like the colour, obviously put the colour that you feel suits your picture. Everything I say is just a suggestion for you. The bit I put there was just because I wanted a dip in the snow. And this again is the very, just the pale cream without anything mixed in it. So I put the dark grey blacky colour in as a base, and then I'm going over it with some lighter grey just to break it up a bit. This is going to be the dog. Now have confidence with the dog, because remember, dogs are all shapes and sizes, and as long as he's not so big he falls out the picture, you can't go wrong, especially as it's just a silhouette, so you haven't got to worry about making his fur look anything, his face look anything. So I'm sorry about my dog. So whatever you end up with is going to be fine. And when someone looks at your picture and they ask you what the dog is, say, well, what do you think it is, or something, and let them guess, and then they'll be right, won't they? I'll be honest, I didn't have any particular dog breed in mind when I did this. I just wanted to end up with a dog shape. And of course the other thing is, you don't know how close to you that dog is or how far away it is, so again that would affect the size of it. I think this is a great picture to do because you end up with a really nice picture and it doesn't have masses and masses of fine detail, and yet it looks like it does, if you know what I mean. So it's a great picture. Even a relative beginner could do this. And that's just a little bit of brown around the dog just to highlight his coat as well, same as we did with the tree and the man. So we're more or less at the end of this picture now. I'm just going to add a few more branches onto the trees and add a few more little bits like the extra bit of grey just to blend that area in. I don't want a harsh line, I want that softer line. I'm not sure when I did it, but on the left hand side you can see I turned that muddy pile into some bushes. I've put some green in with that, and I will do the same on the other side as well. I hope you've enjoyed this picture. I do hope you have a go. It's not actually as hard as it looks, but it's very nice to look at when it's done. So if you're feeling confident or you've had some wool for Christmas or anything like that, do give it a go. There we go. I came to the conclusion that those bushes would want snow if it was going to be the ground and rocks, and I thought there was enough snow in it. I didn't want those to really stand out too much. That's why I've left them just as they are. This is just me adding more branches. You could go sort of, I say crazy, but you could definitely add quite a few more on but do it onto the ends of the big branches, so it looks like little twigs where the leaves would be hanging off. You could actually add 1 or 2 leaves if you wanted to as well, that haven't quite fallen in the autumn. And that's the end of this picture. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do give me a like if you have, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you on the next video. Happy felting. Bye for now.